And then if you don't mind saving your rant until after the introduction, we'll take like a quick pause, and then we'll come back, and I'll just let you rant.
There's no problem. It's your show. You're the leader. I'm gonna.
I lead no one. I lead no one, my friend. I occasionally hold people from falling off mountains. That's all I do.
All right.
All right. Going in 3, 2, 1.
Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good, it's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Hello, my name is Zach Wright with Old Man Gaming, and you, dear listener, for whatever reason, have chosen to listen to another Horrible Gaming Podcast. Listen, before we get into the show proper, and the reason that I'm going to explain the disembodied voice and the picture next to me, I do want to explain to everybody out there, my co-host, my buddy, is going through something with a fan of the show and his lovely wife, Kayla. They had to make the terrible decision to put down their dog. It was their first dog, and as somebody who has lost a dog and had to make that decision, it's incredibly hard. It's incredibly nasty. It's also it always comes with a level of guilt, because no matter how much evidence there is that you're doing the right decision, you have to actually make the choice, and it is not fun. So I just want everybody to take some time, send a little love out to a tiny wizard, Neil. We support you, buddy. Take your time. When you're ready to come back, come back. It's a bummer, okay? But that doom and gloom out of the way, I do want to say I am not alone, because I did not want to be alone again. So with me is...
Oh, William Hououin. Hi! Exclamation point. I thought you were going to say my name.
Yeah, I should have said your name. I'm so used to doing it with Neil that I just, sometimes I screw up on the podcast.
It's fine. Yeah, exclamation point. It's me, William Hououin. I'm here.
Our oldest and one of our biggest fans, William Hououin, has decided to fill in for a show. Really appreciate it, buddy. Love having you here. What you're seeing, the little image that I got there, is his... custom image of his character, and also the custom image that comes with his YouTube site, which I urge everybody to go check out. And I'll give him a chance to plug that again at the end of the show. But it's a very successful, very interesting YouTube channel. So
very, very successful is very big words, but
hey man,
anyway,
you caught up to me in
fun.
half the time, so I love it. I absolutely love it. But thank you for filling in, man. I really appreciate the help.
I'm happy to be here. I'm not happy for the reason I'm being here. So condolences to Neil. That sucks.
Yes.
I'm quite sad that it happened.
Yeah.
But I'm still happy to be here, to be doing the podcast with you.
Well, I'm happy you're here too. I don't like the situation either. It sucks whenever a friend goes through that kind of pain. So. It does blow for him and Kayla. And again, all love and sincerest thoughts go out to you guys in this time. But I am happy that if in this situation it must be, I do have you along for the ride. I really appreciate you stepping in, man. With that said, everybody, we're going to thank the people who make this possible. And then we're going to do a really interesting show today. We're going to talk about Leeway again. But this time I'm going to do it with William Hououin, who actually commented on the subject. I found his comment really interesting, so I think a back and forth is due. William Hououin, since there is no real fan traction because he's the only one who commented, William has a little rant that I'm going to contribute to as well. And then I think I'm going to do a couple of news stories, and then we're going to call it. So to thank the people who make this possible, behind my ugly mug, you're seeing a custom graphic that is provided by the man who makes the music. That is provided by Mr. Mark Bell. We thank him for that. And then, of course, the theme song for this show and all shows here at Old Man Gaming is provided by the man who makes the music, my brother Nick Van Sliders. And we thank him for that. We'll be right back with rant number 1.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, everybody, that brings us to our not really fan interaction because, like I said, we only got one comment. It's about Leeway, so I want to wait and kind of read it during our talking point because me and William Hououin are going to talk about Leeway. But William has something he wants to say about YouTube, and I'm totally okay with that. Go to town, buddy.
Yeah, I need to get it out of my chest. So the episode prior to this one, I did comment it, but as more often than I would like, the comment didn't get through. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a bit of lore on how I'm listening to the podcast and commenting, all right? It's going to be quick.
No problem.
So I'm at work. Wednesday morning, I'm always happy. Around 9 o'clock, podcast is coming out. That's cool. I'm working as a librarian, and I like to have something to listen to while I work because it can be kind of boring. So I'm listening to the podcast on a separate Chrome browser that I, minimize. I'm not watching YouTube, but I'm listening a lot. And so when you say something that I feel like I want to comment on, well, I open that second browser, type my little sentence, and then minimize it back. And then at the end of the show, I'm doing my little hashtag thingy and press, send, comment. I don't remember what the button says, but... And then I can clearly see my comment being added to, the video. I can see it. And so I always think it's fine. And because this is the way I do it, I don't keep a backup. I don't... I tried to do this at some point. I was like copy-pasting my comment, putting it on the Word page, and then sending this Word document to my personal email, and then copying this to put it on your Discord. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work for a comment.
And, since I'm being super careful with the words I use, I don't use any bad words in my comments. My comments are always incredibly safe. And still, on the last episode, when the last I've listened to, well, prior to last, you were reading like Jason comments, and at some point you said, "Well, that's all we got," and I was like, "No, that's I commented. I talked about your well, hatred is a big word. The fact that Link's Awakening is a dream and all of that.
Yeah.
I've put a long comment about it, like of how I agree with you, but then in Link's Awakening it gives this eerie vibe. It makes all sense in the end of why everything was a bit off during the game and different from other. I was arguing a bit with you on this thing, and it got lost. And anyway, it's really annoying, and I don't get it. I don't get why YouTube randomly says, no, this one, no, I don't think so.
Don't like this one. Yeah, it is ridiculous, especially since I still get the oddball, like, check out this porn site or check out this whatever site link.
That is crazy.
Obviously, a bot sticks in there. And, like, for me to see those and not see yours as many times as I have, it's just something ridiculously wrong with it. And I know it's too much work for you. And I understand because you're just commenting. Like, you want to be heard, but it's still just commenting on somebody else's video. How much work are you supposed to put in it? But that's one of the reasons I've said that I'll read comments on the Discord, because Discord never deletes anything randomly.
Yeah, I think I've been brainstorming a bit. Like right now, maybe I could just comment on the Discord while I'm listening to But the thing is, I want to comment on YouTube because it drives the algorithm,
Yeah.
So
I am gonna say this: I have a shirt out now, stealth plug, that you guys can get at Wizard's Respite that says "algorithm proof" since the day we started. And I don't care about the algorithm. I don't do this for the algorithm. And I know that a lot of people look at me crazily. I've already said that, like, if I ever did make enough people to get into the partnership program, I would just start a Patreon. Like, I have no interest in, like, also letting YouTube shovel their terrible, terrible advertisements at people. You know, like it's just, yeah, YouTube is the only place to put this, but that does not mean they do things well. There's and I know you don't watch this specific show, which totally okay. You're not a wrestling guy, but there's also the whole copyright claim ridiculousness that they
yes,
do
that's the problem.
It's a huge problem. I get copyright claimed. So we post this show where me and a buddy, we book against each other in WWE 2K whatever. And that means you put the show together and then we watch the show happen and then we see who got the better ratings. The very last show is always WrestleMania because that you're booking in WWE. It's a pay-per-view. It's the WrestleMania. That's their big show. That's their Super Bowl. Every time I post our WrestleMania episode, our loading screen gets copyright claimed that we are rebroadcasting the WrestleMania from like 2 years ago, which I just want to point out again, at least, and I know you're up in Canada, so I'm not exactly sure if the rules are super different, but at least in America, that's fair use. It's fair use. Like, even if we rebroadcast WrestleMania and like talked over it or parodied it, it's fair use. You know, like it's not like YouTube just decides to copyright claims things that shouldn't necessarily be copyrighted. And I guess we're on a little bit of a digression here.
Oh yeah. When you're not monetized, though, copyright claim is not that big of a deal, right? You just don't get the money.
So yes,
but since you don't get money,
here's the thing, though. If you're copyright claimed for music, you just don't get the money. You don't get the money. You don't get the money for it. The musician gets the money for it if you ever make money off of it. Okay, fine. But if you're copyrighted for video, they black you out in the places where people can see the video. Okay. So like WrestleMania goes out live on America, so people would not be able to watch our WrestleMania episode because they're saying that we're rebroadcasting WrestleMania from like fucking 3 years ago. It's a ridiculous. It's not even like it's WrestleMania today. It's WrestleMania from like, because those games are always using graphics from 2 years ago. Like those WrestleManias you could probably find on YouTube, but for some reason, there's that whole thing about. There's a law tuber. I'm sure you haven't heard about this, and I've only heard about this because my wife is very into the law tubing stuff. Which, for anybody out there who doesn't know what tubers are, law tubes, they're lawyers, or paralegals, or people with law experience who like take cases which are all public knowledge, all public records, and they read the cases over. They give their kind of commentary on it. They'll also watch trials alongside of people, alongside of like viewers, and give their commentary on it. It's a much more exciting way to watch a legal trial if you're interested in it. And I think it's cool. It's not my bag, but I think it's cool. There is the biggest law tuber there is in America is Emily D. Baker. She actually contracted to have her own theme song made for her like show, her regular podcast show that she does. Netflix decided to do a documentary on the whole Amber Heard, Johnny Depp thing, and they just decided to use a bunch of YouTubers and the comments from YouTube.
I saw that. My wife watched it on YouTube, and it was not on YouTube, on Netflix, and it was super weird.
Yeah,
because she was watching it in French. All right.
Well, and here's even more facts to this, Will.
Yeah.
They never gave permission for that. They never even asked the YouTubers.
They just took it. Yeah,
they just took it.
I have no doubt. Yeah.
And so Emily D. Baker, because her theme song for her podcast was used in the Netflix documentary, I think you know where this is going. She is literally getting copyrighted claimed for the song that she commissioned for her own show because Netflix stole a thing from her show, and now YouTube is like, that's a Netflix thing.
Yeah, that's really weird.
It's fucking insane.
I mean, I suppose she's gonna contest it in some way. But I mean, it's a lot of trouble that you don't need.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, YouTube is.
But man, that documentary was it was so funny because they took a bunch of Asmongold. Stuff.
Okay.
And they dubbed it in French. And so I was watching Asmongold speak in French with a voice that doesn't fit. And anyway.
That is
was
very
weird.
strange. That is some
that
very
was
strange
weird.
stuff. That's very strange.
Yeah, that was funny. Anyway,
Okay.
we are really off now.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. It's gonna be that kind of show, guys. But yeah. So we're gonna get to your comment and the talking point next. Yeah, YouTube, tighten up. I think is really the tighten up. Also, and this is the biggest reason that I will never partnership program. From the time of like mid-July to November, it is just the most evil political ads just in every show at all times. And just the worst stuff. Like so-and-so rapes babies and shoots kids. Like, oh, well, so-and-so over here club seals on it. You know, like, it's insane, crazy lie shit from everybody, and I hate it. I hate that time of the year because it's just like I go to watch my Game Grumps and I have to sit through an hour of just the craziest shit because YouTube is just like, yeah, we'll put any lie on here as long as you give us money, you know. Oh,
go
ahead.
I'm gonna do my coming out of YouTube Premium membership owner.
Nice.
I'm totally paying for YouTube. The thing is, I'm listening to a lot of YouTube at work, and I don't want to have to skip ads all the time. So,
yeah, I get it.
It's worth it to me.
Look,
like honestly,
you have to decide where it's at. Like Spotify, and I know Spotify is not the best to artists, which sucks. It's why I avoided them for a very long time. But I'm just a huge music person. I need constant music and podcasts going in my ear, and they just have everything there. And we took a vacation, and I was like, I'm going to listen to Spotify. We heard Danny DeVito selling Jersey Mike subs to us so many times. We had the ad memorized. I pay for premium for Spotify because it's I'm constantly listening to it, you know. So I get it. I get it. There's nothing wrong with the premium. I do hate that it almost feels like they force you to do it nowadays, you know.
Oh yeah, and without premium, I cannot even like put my phone on, close the screen.
Yeah.
Because then YouTube stops. But with premium, YouTube keeps playing even if your phone is,
which is
kinda
nuts. You would think
crazy.
They want it to
It's
keep playing because then the
it's
ads, you couldn't skip the ads. Like if the phone was closed. It's so
this
silly.
Is super stupid. Yes, I know.
Super stupid. It's like you would think, yeah, we want it to be on at all time because then the phone will go dark, and they won't be able to skip the ads, and they'll have to listen to them. Like that's the whole point is to get the ads to them. It's so fucking weird.
That's so stupid. But
it's so fucking weird. It's like. If I was somebody trying to advertise too, like I don't know that I'd want to use YouTube because I'm like, okay, wait a second. So we're gonna give you this much money to advertise, but if they give you X amount of dollars, they don't have to hear our ads. Like it's so counterintuitive. I don't know how it works at all.
I know that's crazy.
All right. Well, digression over.
Enough.
Let's get back into video games. We're going to talk about Leeway, the difference between how much leeway we maybe give or do not give to independents versus AAAs, all that fun stuff. Basically what I talked on camera last week, but I want to do it with another person. And Will had some really interesting thoughts. We're going to read his comment, and then we're going to talk about it. So we'll be right back with that.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our talking point. So, last week, I had to do an emergency talk down session. I did it. I just basically kind of ranted for 20 minutes about Leeway and how much I would give or not give to certain people. William did comment on that show. I appreciate your comment, Will. So we're going to read out that comment, and then me and Will are going to have a discussion about it. And just so that everybody knows, I'm not ambushing him with this. I feel like that's what it would look like. Like, come on my show, and I'm going to ambush your comment on it. He was totally told ahead of time this is what we're going to do.
I haven't prepared, but I was told.
Yeah, that's fine. You're not supposed to prepare. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not a quality gaming podcast. We don't. If you show up with notes, I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. And just to go ahead and show you how unprepared it is, I just knocked my controller and mic completely out of whack. So There we go. We're back. But yeah, if you came in with notes, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. Like, what are you doing? All right. So, comment. Hi! Exclamation point. Once again, I effing commented last episode. We talked about that. Anyway, I totally think we should be critical of indie games and call out the bad stuff happening. I think that we need to be careful. What we need to be careful of is our expectations. Can't expect the same thing from a 1 to 2 person team to a quadruple A game. But holding indies accountable is how we can drive them forward to be better and better. Great talk. Thanks for the show. Hashtag I deserve a show. Well, you're getting one. I can't say I'm not giving you a show.
No, I got my show, and I will still. And now I'm in the show. But yeah.
Yeah. I think your comment's really interesting. Like I said, I talked about Leeway, and I tend to give a little bit like, it's okay, you're just a 2-person team more to an independent company than I did. So this whole thing, I'm just going to start where it came from, and then we'll go to your thoughts on it, because I'm sure you watched the review because you commented on it too. This whole thing came from a review I had to do. I've been waiting for a game for like 2 years now, maybe 1 year, I don't know. It's been a while, and it's called Mirthwood.
This is rookie numbers, though. Some people have been looking forward to Elder Scrolls 6.
Oh God,
for like 7 years.
Yeah, I'm gonna be dead before that comes out. I'm positive. I say that every time. I'm like Neil will be like, "Well, Elder Scrolls 6." I'm like, "Stop! Just put it out of your mind. That's another generation's game. That's not ours." Be happy with Skyrim. Move on with your life. Yeah. So it was rookie numbers, but I've been waiting for it for a while. And I talked about it for a lot on the channel. Like, I talked about it on the podcast. I talked about it in some other places. And so I put myself in kind of a weird situation because I've said multiple times, I don't like to do reviews when they're extremely negative. Like, usually if I play a game and I'm just like, I can't get on board with this game at all, I just don't do a review at all. Just because I don't like to... There's enough people out there, like, hating on things and trashing things. I like my site to be as positive as humanly possible, you know?
Yeah, I do the same.
Yeah.
If you scroll on my channel, you won't find a lot of, this game sucks. Here's 10 reasons why you should not buy this game.
Right.
No, I don't do that. There's a bunch of game I think that sucks. I just don't talk about them.
Well, and I don't like to be at odds with the internet. Not that I necessarily think or care what other people say. I just don't like to be in that situation. The whole Monster Hunter Rise thing, which wasn't technically a review, but it was still kind of like my thoughts on a thing I had played, turned into such a fucking shit show that, like,
you really have a PTSD.
I have PTSD. I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't want to be fighting with people. I don't want to spend all day getting notifications about how I suck and I'm clickbaiting and I'm a douchebag. Like, it's just like that day was just, it was just like, notification, you're terrible. Notification, you suck. It's like, okay, like, I don't care. I don't believe these people, but if you have enough like that, it's just deflating, you know?
Yeah, it's draining.
I mean, I played the Monster Hunter Wilds beta recently, and I'm still kind of like gun shy to do a video about it, just because, like, if I give negative thoughts, is this gonna start up again, me and the Monster Hunter community? But aside from that, I don't want to digress into my Monster Hunter rants. But the Mirthwood, I played it and I talked about it a lot, so I put myself in a position where I felt like I had to do a review about it. Like, people would expect it of me. So I did a review, and it's not the most positive review, but in comparison to other negative reviews I've done, it was very nice. I spent a lot of time being like, hey, this is a 2-person team. There are these problems, but they're trying. You can tell that they really wanted to put work into this. They really wanted to put effort into it. I don't think I was being untrue with any of these things, but at the same time, you look at my Astroneer review where I just hate that game. I even went back and re-reviewed it and hated it. And, like, I'm very hateful on it. So, like, I don't know, like, if I should have given that leeway, you know?
I think there's one of the reasons that we tend to give more leeway to small studio and indies is because we can put a face on. We can know who are behind the game. Like I know, like the new Dragon Age game is getting a lot of shit right
Boycott.
now. I won't talk too much on it because I've never played a Dragon Age game, so
Fair
I
enough.
don't have a horse in the game. I don't really care. I've seen some very bad dialogue scenes on YouTube. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
that's cringe is not enough of a word, but we I cannot put a face behind who has written those lines or who made that game. It's a big studio. There's a bunch of people.
Right.
They all worked on a very small thing
Yeah.
each. You cannot. It's kind of a faceless entity, and you can trash on it all day because
Right.
you won't feel bad trashing on a big
That's true.
faceless company.
That's
While when you talk about a small game with one or two people behind it that did like
Yeah.
devlogs, they put themselves out there.
Yeah.
They're telling you all the difficulties they had like while making the game, and you as a as a dude, a random guy on YouTube, you would say, yeah, they suck. I mean,
hard.
I would not be comfortable doing this.
Well, and the thing is like, so I played Mirthwood. I'm not playing it right now. I am gonna go back to it, but I feel like they released it before really finishing the stuff that they needed to finish to make it what it potentially was advertised as. Like almost like a No Man's Sky. Like it got cut down so much that it didn't come out being what they intended it to be. Like there's like the marriage system isn't even there yet. You can't even marry the NPCs. Like they promise that you can marry the NPCs, have children with the NPCs, play the children of your own character when your character dies, and that your NPCs will actually be able to go with you out into the world. That's awesome. You've been advertising that since the beginning. It's not in the game now, so there's just no point in me talking to people. And the quests aren't as in, you know what I mean? Like there's now it's like Stardew Valley before Stardew Valley was really good, And I'm just like, it's not where you guys said it was going to be. At the same time, though, there's definitely merit to what you're saying, because I also started playing Skull and Bones recently again. Did I say that right? It's Skull and Bones, right? It's Skull and Bones, right? The Ubisoft pirate one?
Yeah, Skull and Bones is the first quadruple A game in history. And I like how it's being casualized to say quadruple A. I like this. I cannot wait till we add another A.
Yeah. This is our 8A. Our 8A stuff. How many A's you need, guys? What if like
we can give you all the A's you want.
I want 10A to just be like people attack you and pretend you're in the story. No, like I started playing Skull and Bones again, which is the height of soullessness, right? From a company like Ubisoft is just right now completely under fire as being the most soulless. Like basically all their games on consoles are mobile games. Like it's just jamming advertisements and premium battle passes and microtransactions.
They're terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah, they're terrible. This is
sucks.
crazy how you can fall that much from the status they had. This is crazy.
Even as a games as a service company, they're one of the only companies that can keep like those kind of games alive for like longer than 5 years. You think about Rainbow Six Siege, it's still going. Rainbow Six Siege is still going. That thing has survived 2 console generations. That's insane. Same with For Honor. That's still going. I still play that. But Skull and Bones, I went back to it recently, and it is an extremely enjoyable experience on the gameplay aspect. It is easy to just get in. It's graphically really pretty. The controls are crisp and good. It does everything that it had originally said it did. However, you get this juxtaposition of like you have this soulless it's kind of the intent behind it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you got Mirthwood over here made by 2 people who are just trying to make the experience they want to play in video games and doing the best they can in a very competitive, hard to like break into world. and probably not getting it all right. And then you have over here, like, yeah, this is a great pirate naval combat game, but you are just jammed with these microtransactions and, like, seasonal events and bullshit. And it's just like, I want to root for the Mirthwood guys, you know?
And at the same time, I said earlier, you can put a face on the people making the game, but at the end of the day, as the player, you're paying for a product. You're paying for something that was advertised, and I mean, when you're playing the game, it doesn't really matter how hard it was to develop, how hard how many hours they've put into the game, how passionate the devs are. If the game sucks, I mean, it's still bad. If the game is bad, it's still bad.
That's true.
Even though it so yeah, it's hard. Your Leeway thing it's very hard. At the end of the day, you're buying a product. It should work as it should work.
Yeah.
Full stop. First of all, it should work, which is not always the case.
I mean, I don't know of a game that works out the gate anymore.
Yeah,
like, can you name one that doesn't need a patch like 2 days after it comes out? I can't.
Yeah, this is very sad. And,
Indie or otherwise.
So first of all, that worked as advertised in the for your Mirthwood that's Mirthwood, right?
Yeah, Mirthwood. Yeah, that's the one that I reviewed.
So they probably released it sooner than they wanted to because they needed the funding of the sales of the game to complete the game.
Yeah,
that would be my guess of why it was released.
I agree.
When it was.
I feel like at that point you got to say beta or early access to get the leeway. Still,
yes, but they would have sold less if it was advertised as a beta.
But your face thing has a lot of credence. I'm in a Discord with Mirthwood. I know the two developers of that game I don't know them personally, but I know their names.
Yeah,
their
absolutely.
Names, I know what these guys are trying to do. And there's the other thing, when you play it, like when you play Mirthwood, you're like, you very clearly be like, I see what they are trying to accomplish here, and I'm all on board for it. It's just not even 25% of what it needs to be that, And then you play Skull and Bones, and you're just like, well, this is everything they wanted it to be. Fuck, like it's just so like hard one way or the other to kind of decide. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever played a game that, like, right off the bat, you're like, this game doesn't work for me, but I see what they're attempting to do, and I want to stick with them to see where they go? Or are you just like, I'm out, your game doesn't work?
Man, that's a good question. Certainly I've played games that didn't work with me at all. But I would tend to just not follow up. I would tend to just leave it there, and because I think you've been invested in that game for a long time. You've been. I don't do that. I don't do.
There's the secret sauce.
I mean, honestly, I care about games that I can play right now, not tomorrow, not next week, not next year. Now, if it's not now, I mean, I can see it. Like I can see like a preview or something. That looks cool. Maybe once it's out, I'm gonna invest some time in it. But I really don't follow the pre-release gaming scene. I don't care.
That's good. That's smart. That's the secret sauce. Like,
you're opening yourself for so much disappointment.
Especially since, and we've talked about this in the podcast a lot, is that the pre-game gaming scene is the evilest crap out there. Like, they are attempting to get pre-orders. They will say anything to get your money before that game is out, and it is very frustrating. Just from a podcast standpoint, we started doing stuff like that early, so I kind of feel like we have to always in some kind of capacity. And I am somebody who sees a preview and gets interested in a game and then wants to see when that comes out, But it sucks because we've been burned so many times. We're post Cyberpunk now, post so many other like train wrecks and failures that like you have the right idea. Just don't even go in until the game comes out,
Yeah, I think that's the most reasonable thing to do, honestly.
I mean, it is a bummer though when a game comes out and it's, I don't know. Like there is a flip side to that where like say Mirthwood, or you know what? I'll use a different example because we've been using Mirthwood a lot. Say No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky, I was very invested in No Man's Sky before it came out. Very invested. I was all in on everything it had to say. Then it came out on PlayStation only, so I couldn't get it anyway, but it was kind of a train wreck. It was not at all what they had promised or even close. But the thing is I wouldn't have kept watching it. I would have immediately written it off if I wasn't so invested in the pregame. I would have just been like, that game, they lied to us, fuck them, and I would have walked away. But instead, I followed it, I got it at Xbox, and it's now become one of my all-time favorite games just because they still keep adding free shit to it, and just there's so much to do in it. It's beyond what it was advertised to be in the beginning,
And it's very a Zack game with the procedurally generated stuff and all that you can do. It's definitely a you game, that's for sure. And yes, you're right. You could have just, missed it, and it would have been a mistake. But for the No Man's Skies and the Final Fantasy XIV, I remember the first version of Final Fantasy XIV that was pretty awful. You couldn't even jump. That was crazy. But for those specific stories, there's 1,000 of
fails. Yeah,
just shit that stays bad.
Anthem. I still live in Anthem. My Anthem. I loved that game so much, and I think I'm the only person on the planet who did.
I don't think so. I've heard other people say they were disappointed that it went nowhere.
I just feel like
it still exists, right?
Yeah. I don't think it's been delisted or the servers have been shut down, but there's no more content going to it, and we're basically just it's on life support until it eventually ceases to exist at some point in the future. But yeah, I mean, like with Mirthwood, I'm invested, and I played it, and I it's not what I want right now, but I see how it's going to become what I want, so I'm not gonna like walk away from it. I don't know if I had just bought it day one, having not heard anything about it, just like read a synopsis, if I'd be willing to do that. Like without
you're staying in the hopes you're keeping an eye on it in the hopes it's going to be what it was advertised, and I mean there's a good amount of chances that it will actually, because if you're telling me like the Discord's still going, the devs are still talking to people, because sometimes they just ghost like Fantastic with I don't even remember.
The day before.
The day before. Oh my god.
What a scam that was.
They came back.
I know. They keep coming back. What? No one's going to trust you psychos.
This is so crazy. You should be in jail.
They should be in jail.
This is crazy.
Jail. It's insane.
This is so funny to me.
It's insane. Like, this is the highest level of, like, hype fraud I have ever seen was that game. Most wishlisted, it just came out and was just train wreck, and it was like, guys, shut down, bye, we take your money now. It's totally insane.
All right.
Well, I think we've discussed Leeway, man. Do you got anything else to add to it?
Probably nothing really constructive. I think that's pretty much it. This is very hard. That Leeway thing, the way we treat indie games, it's really, really hard.
It's tough. But
there's a huge amount of everybody has his role in it.
Yeah.
Devs should be careful about what they advertise, what they show. Players should keep in mind this game is not developed with $100 million budget, but like $50,000 and a lot of dreams and hopes. And I think we need to find some kind of middle between our expectations and the promises they made to be able to meet up in the middle of this.
I agree.
So
I personally too, I think that, you know, you see beta and early access kind of almost like bad words when it comes to AAA games, and I agree with that 90% of the time. But with the indies, I think that the indies are much better at using beta and early access and kind of delivering on the promises that come with that. I think that, like, in the case of Mirthwood, I think they should have said that this was early access. I don't think they should have said that this was, you know, the full game, just because there were some things that they had advertised in the original trailer that just were not here. They're going to be here, but they weren't here now. I think indies do that. I am much more likely to believe beta and early access promises from indie companies than AAA companies, because AAA companies tend to use that as a, we're not done with this, we don't care, but we want your money now sort of thing, you know?
Yeah.
So, all right, well, we're gonna take a quick break. I have just a couple of news stories I want to share with you guys. Obviously, Neil is the one who does the news now, so I'm kind of scrambling, but there were a couple of things that jumped out at me that I wanted to talk about. Yeah.
By the way, I tried.
You tried what?
Went yesterday evening. I went online, like tried to find some gaming news, and I
That's
suck.
so nice.
I suck. I can't. I haven't found anything that was worth discussing about anything. I was trying to find something silly, something funny, like stupid shit happening in the gaming sphere, and I was not able to. So I have nothing.
One thing I've always loved about Neil doing news, and all shouts out to you, a Tiny Wizard, if you listen to this episode, and let's face it, you're probably not going to listen to this episode, but so he's never going to hear that I complimented him, which is better for our relationship. But one shout out, he always finds like really happy, funny, or silly stories to end on, and like anytime I'm scrolling through the news, I find stories I want to talk about. They are never things that I'm happy or silly or like ha ha ha. I think once I found one where a fish like spent a ton of money on credit cards because he let him stream or something like that, like stuff like that. I don't think I've ever found anything funny or silly because it's just always depressing to me, but he always manages to find like a silly haha story, you know. Which is nice.
He's very good with this, and I tried to cover for him, but it didn't work.
Well, I appreciate your efforts, sir. You didn't have to.
I tried. I swear I tried.
You as a warm body is all I need for this one. All right, so we're gonna take a quick break. We'll come right back with the news.
Horrible game.
All right, that brings us kind of to the news. Neil has been in charge of the news forever. So I just collected a couple of bigger news stories that I want to talk about a little bit with somebody on here. And most of them are Xbox related because Phil Spencer has been very, let's say, very chatty lately. And he, first of all, the first one, so they're all kind of coming from him. We're going to start with the first one, and that is that they have confirmed that there will be an Xbox handheld system, much akin to a Switch or a Steam Deck, but it is still a few years off. Phil Spencer has confirmed that. Really, the question here that I want to ask my buddy for the day, William Hououin, well, my buddy in forever, but my partner for the day, what he thinks about this, like, do we need an Xbox handheld? Is this the right move? Are they getting there too late to the fad? Is this a fad and we're going to be done with the handhelds? What do you think about this, man?
Okay, so obviously I was not aware of this.
That's fine.
It comes as no surprise. I'm very surprised. I thought they would be out of the hardware market like very, very soon, to be completely honest with you. With all the rumors that they want to just put Game Pass on PlayStation.
And everywhere else.
What? I mean, I love handheld. I really do. So, to me, it sounds like a interesting development.
Yeah.
But what would the difference be between a Steam Deck and an Xbox handheld? I mean,
I really
aren't
don't know.
like all the Xbox games pretty much available on a Steam Deck?
Yes. In fact,
I mean,
they've
apart
confirmed
maybe
you can
from-
run Game Pass on like the Xbox app on a Steam Deck.
So why would I buy an Xbox? Because with my Xbox handheld, I probably wouldn't be able to run Steam on it. So if I'm why
Yeah.
is what I'm trying to say. We'll have to wait and see. I feel it's a very weird move to come out with a handheld like right now in the age of there's so many like PC handhelds coming out and it won't slow down. I
No.
mean, what will Xbox offers that others don't is my question.
I think that's a really good question. I think I'm definitely on record as wanting a Steam Deck. That being said, it is not something that is financially doable for me, or
Oh,
that
it's
I
too
could-
pricey for me too.
or that I could. I mean, it's. I don't think it's too pricey for what it is. I just don't have the money for it. You
It's
know what
too
I mean?
pricey for me right
And
now.
I
it's
also
crazy.
can't justify that. But hell, to my wife, I can't say to her, "Yeah, I want to spend $500 so I could play the PlayStation games." I'm sorry, so I could play the PC games without going down a flight of stairs. Like I can't justify that to her at this point, or myself, or anybody else for that matter.
Yeah.
Especially when we have a Switch, so I can play games on that. I think that, like, that being said, people are very into the handhelds. My real question with this, and I had said this, I was on record as saying this before, is Xbox is very much, their mindset, if you look at them over the last few years, has been very, like, corruption. Not corruption. I'm trying to find a good word, but they don't necessarily want to beat anybody. They want to become attached to everything. You know what I mean? Like they don't.
Yeah.
They don't want to be the they don't want to be the bottling company. They want to be the water. And like that's, if you look at them over the last couple of years, even when they went to war with PlayStation with this whole bidding war thing, that kind of came on the heel of these rumors that they wanted to put Game Pass on PlayStation, and then PlayStation came out and said never and came out with their own thing. And I almost feel like that was like, oh, okay, well then we're just going to buy Activision and then you're going to have to do it, I think that like, and if you look at some of the emails that came out from the trial, they're very much like, we're going to spend a lot of money on all the game companies so that everybody has to come to us in some way, shape, or form. And you also look at things, and I'm definitely building to a point, bear with me, but you look at like xCloud, right? xCloud is directly connected to their Ultimate Game Pass tier membership, Project xCloud. xCloud is cloud-based gaming. I can play everything on Game Pass on my phone right now. I can't because I don't have Ultimate because it's too pricey now, but
You could.
But you could. So, like, my thing is, so, like, my addition to your why would be, okay, why am I going to spend what is easily going to be $200-$300 on a handheld system for my Xbox games when I could just put a controller on the side of my phone and play the Xbox games that way? And I know that stream gaming is not as solid as normal gaming. I understand that, but you're also playing on handheld, so like what are you looking for out of that experience, I guess? I kind of almost always felt like they were like, hey, Steam Deck runs our Game Pass stuff, plus we've got xCloud for people. Like, people can do Game Pass off their TV. They even just released an advertisement specifically saying that everything is an Xbox. It's a whole advertisement thing where they were like, they show a picture of a TV and they're like, this is an Xbox. And they show a picture of like a phone, and it says this is also an Xbox, and it just goes through all these like things that you can play Game Pass on. What is the point at that point if you can play Game Pass on all of these things? If I can play Game Pass anywhere already, why do I need a handheld? You know?
Yeah, I'm really puzzled. I'm trying to find a reason. Maybe to download. Maybe you could install the game probably, and because streaming games is kind of shit. I mean, for a turn-based RPG, maybe visual novel, all right.
Yeah.
An action game, no way.
No.
I tried it. It doesn't work.
This is true.
Input lag is too bad.
This is true.
So,
this is true. I don't necessarily argue with that, but at the same time, like, it just seems like too much. It seems like, why? Like, you obviously had a direction. I don't understand why you're not sticking to that direction. But to keep with this news, and this is something I'm really interested to get your thoughts on, which is why I put it on here. So we have talked a lot on this podcast specifically about the ridiculous PS Pro price at $700. Now they have interviewed Phil Spencer. Like I said, he's been very chatty, and they asked him about the PS Pro and the $700 system, and he had this to say: "We think about hardware that can create unique value for our players or creators on our platform. We don't need to do incremental hardware for our own benefit. Does a new device really give you a unique experience on screen in some way? It's less like the old days, going from original Xbox to 360. That was standard definition to high definition. Now it's harder to show the benefits," which I've literally been saying this on this podcast for like 2 years now. But he basically said a $700 increased system is not necessary. We're never going to do that. I don't know if I buy that they're never going to do that, but they have said that we're never going to have a system priced that high. So I'm interested on your thoughts, and I want to hear what you think about what Phil Spencer said, but I know you're a kind of a PlayStation guy. So
I am a PlayStation guy.
What are your thoughts on the $700 system from a PlayStation guy?
I am a PlayStation guy. I'm not a PlayStation fanboy though. I don't,
Right.
Sony is not me. It's not my identity. I always find it weird, like those people who will defend. Oh my God, no! It's the best. They're so good. No,
on any side, I don't understand that.
On any side, yeah, exactly. On any side, I'm a PlayStation guy because I had a PS3 and I've built up a library of games and I'm in that ecosystem, and I don't feel the need to change it. So I'm just a PlayStation guy because, basically,
right.
I don't even care all that much about the exclusives. I mean, I couldn't even name you like 5. So
okay.
It's just, this is my ecosystem. I'm comfortable with this. I like this, and anyway, the PS5 Pro that came out as a surprise. I didn't thought they would do it. I have a PS5. I like it quite a bit.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the loading times are really fast, and I mean, compare.
You don't have to explain it. You don't have to explain it. You can like a system.
I had a PS4, a base PS4, since 2015, 16,
okay.
And loading times were pretty long. And I know I could have messed up with, meddle with another type of hard drive and stuff, but I don't really do that. So anyway, the jump was substantial to me. I am quite happy with this. I'm not a fan of the controllers, but let's not go into that. $100 for a controller, man.
That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous,
fucking
man.
Crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Well, I'm going into it now.
I'm gonna tell you right now, PC, we got lucky on the controllers. I'll say that right now. Because I could get wired controllers for my PC. I don't even do the wireless. I get wired controllers for my PC, and they're like fucking $60.
Yeah, and I've been having my PS5 since just like April like 24, and
Right.
like the X button is kind of mushy now. This is
They
crazy,
go
and
bad so fast. Even the
the
Xbox ones. It's ridiculous.
the battery is shit. Man, yeah. But I like the system. I think
Okay.
it was a great upgrade. And the pros coming out, and you look at the specs and all of this. There is some upgrades, but do you have the TV to see
Right.
them? Do you have?
Right.
Some
Right.
people are really easily got by the specs of the system.
Yes.
Oh my God! Oh, like ray tracing. All right, so can you see it though?
Not
I mean,
really. Yeah, exactly. I
I yeah, I didn't felt it was necessary.
okay.
I've seen some people being very happy with the upgrade. I'm gonna say that I've seen that on Reddit floating.
Right.
I won't buy a PS5 Pro.
Okay.
And I don't trust Phil Spencer
No.
saying he will never release a
No,
seven
neither do
hundred
I.
dollar
No.
console. I don't
No.
trust it. Even with adjusted inflation, I don't trust it.
I don't.
Um,
In fairness,
he
I don't.
will.
I don't think they're ever going to release another console. I mean,
Well, that's what I thought. But then they're talking about making a handheld.
I
Which
think
is
that's the only
even
place to go, though. Like, where else do you go from that point? Like, the other thing is, too, and I think I don't like Phil Spencer. I don't trust him. I've said that repeatedly on this channel, but he is not stupid. He's not a stupid
no,
person.
he's not.
And I think just from this comment, he is smart enough to see now that, like, the amount of money to put into a system to get such incremental increases that aren't even noticeable, but like 8K and 4K, I don't even think the difference is noticeable by the human eye. Like, we're at that point where we're at a singularity of graphical fidelity where, like, I think he sees that, like, what's the point of this, especially given how bad AAA gaming is crashing right now compared to how much people love indies. You look at, like, the success of, like, games like Drova and, like, stuff like that that's coming out that's just like 7 guys made it and it's just a runaway hit. I think that I think the only place for Xbox to go is handhelds, I don't know.
maybe. You have a point.
I mean, I could be wrong too. I have been wrong many times on this channel. I will be wrong many times in the future.
Yeah. Handheld is pretty good at playing indie games.
Yes.
And so
Yeah, like if I were
Yeah.
to get a Steam Deck, it would be literally to play GM mode on 2K24 when I'm not at my computer and indie games. I don't think I'd play anything, big and scary on it, Even on a Steam Deck, I don't think I'd do it,
Yeah.
That is interesting. I am glad to hear that you. Do you think $700 is too much for a console?
Oh, it absolutely is. And by the way, you know, I'm paying my stuff with maple syrup money, or you could call it beaver bucks if you prefer. Um, I, it's not $700 for me to buy a PS5. It's $1,000.
Holy shit!
Like, no joke. Like the price is $999. And you
That's
don't
nuts.
have a disk drive, and you don't have the
Yeah.
stand, and so it's $1,200 maybe to get
That's
a PS5 Pro
nuts.
with a disk drive. Yeah, that's
Fucking
crazy.
nuts.
That's crazy.
I was talking to a friend too, and he had said, "Yo, it's still cheaper than PC gaming." I was like, "Dude, I will show you."
I don't know.
I was about to say, I will show you to a Lenovo 4080, which is a better graphics card, arguably, than the PlayStation 5 Pro has in it. $760 out the door. Yes, you'd have to buy the accoutrement, like the monitor, the mouse, and all that stuff. But, like, $760 with a coupon. Like, I don't know that it is anymore. Like, it is really,
Yeah.
really getting to a
I
weird
feel-
place.
I feel consoles were for a long time a way
Yes.
to have great quality at a lower cost and
Yeah.
lower hassle. Like, you don't have to mess up with much. You just plug and play. Yes, right now with the PS5 Pro, I'm not too sure about that. I'm
No,
not sure.
no.
This is very pricey. I could
I'm
get a pretty good PC for 1200.
Yeah, even if you're buying it, that's what's crazy. Like building it is one thing, but like even if you're like just fucking buying it without building it at all, so you don't like everybody's always like, well, then I have to build it, and that's so complex, which it really isn't nowadays with YouTube videos. But like even if you're not building it, like you're not that far off from what a console is at this point. You know, highest console $700. You could probably buy a freaking tower for 760. So you're talking with a monitor and whatnot. You're probably around 850, 900. Like to straight up buy it, you're only talking $200 more. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
It's very expensive.
Last two news stories. There are two more. I'm sorry. This one.
Oh, go ahead.
Actually, I'm gonna start with the one that you don't have much. You're not gonna have much to say on, so we can just move through it. But I just want to let people know about it because this was a big part of my childhood. StarCraft has gotten this kind of resurgence on Xbox Game Pass. They put the old real-time strategy on there, the old real-time StarCraft game, the defunct
I
StarCraft.
played that. Do you think they're gonna remaster it in a super bad way and void the old version like they did like with Warcraft 3?
Probably, but I don't want to talk about that at this point. I don't like real-time strategies. So this game has memories for me because when I was in high school, we had this thing called Computer Club, and it was an after-school club. Basically, it was just where all the nerds hung out. This is just what it was, like after school. It was every Wednesday, and we got it to a point where we would go to Computer Club. It was 40 minutes, but then we would take the computers from the social studies lab and the computers from the computer lab, and we put StarCraft on all of them, and we would play like giant LAN wars with each other, like 8-9 player battles in the school with each other. So we would just have these huge like wars. I never won. I'm not good at real-time strategies. It requires a level of clicking. Yeah. Like I like 4X. I like turn-based stuff. I can't do the fast clicking stuff. So I never won, but it was really fun to be with like your partner, your friends and stuff, and betray each other and stuff like that. So I have a lot of love for StarCraft. The reason I'm bringing this up is not a potential remaster, which you could be 100% right that they're going to do that shit. But they have confirmed a job application where they are making an open world shooter. And it's not 100% confirmed, but everybody thinks it's going to be StarCraft, an open world shooter game instead of the real-time strategy. So it looks like they're going to, because of the success of bringing it back, they're going to start expounding on that IP.
Well, it's been a while since I've seen StarCraft in the forefront. I mean, why not? Why not?
You want to say hi to the people?
Yeah.
All right. And Will's on here too. You can't see him, but that's his picture.
Yeah, I see you. I can see your picture, Will. I even subscribed to your channel.
Yeah, I know it's Stella, and thank you for subscribing. I don't know if my content is really reaching you all that much, but thank you.
He says thank you.
Okay, and I also wanted to say hi, everybody.
Okay, all right, go upstairs. Oh, screen addicted, that one. All right, yeah, I would like to see. They all are. I'd like to see this IP expounded on. It's just one of those things where I don't trust Microsoft to make games anymore. Like it's weird. You have Sony that's good at hardware, but too pricey. You've got Xbox that's good at software, but can't do games. And then, like, who's left to make the games? Like, it's funny to me. Like the whole exclusive thing, I'm like, when was the last time we got a good exclusive from Xbox? And it's like and anytime they do release one, they immediately shut down the studio anyway. So what are we doing here, you know? So I'm very nervous about that one in our current world of video games, you know?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Yes.
How they mess it up.
Yeah, I think it's a cool world. I'd love to see the StarCraft world get more stuff.
Yeah,
I always
StarCraft
thought
is pretty
that.
cool.
Always thought that, but I just don't know that I trust them. But we'll have to see. And then finally, my last news story, and this is the funny one that I found. And this is, I find this hysterical. So Obsidian is under the banner of Microsoft. So is Activision. Microsoft is actually allowing you to purchase certain like BattleNet gift cards if you have enough in-game currency from World of Warcraft, which is cool. I'm not going to say that's like actually translating it back into some form of currency in the real world is nice, you know?
Yeah.
So somebody calculated how much it would cost to purchase Obsidian's Avowed with World of Warcraft gold. And it is 1.3 million gold at today's prices. If you can grind out 1.3 million gold in World of Warcraft, you can purchase Avowed.
You can buy gold in Warcraft, right?
I think you can buy it. Yeah.
And
Sure
WoW.
you can buy it.
Yeah.
I'm going
I
to
would
have
get
to
curious.
assume that you can earn it, though, in some way, like actually like grinding it
Oh
out.
yeah, of course you can earn it. Yeah, of course. But yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with that. Will that make a will that make like the gold seller happy? I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm very curious. I think it's a very interesting thing. I tell you, we have all those lawsuits now with like in-game currency, and I guess this is an extra news story, but there is 2 fans of the original Crew game suing Ubisoft because the Crew can't be played anymore. And they're basically saying, hey, we went into a store, we bought the game, and you said we could play it. Now we can't play it. So they're literally suing them, and it's turning into a class action against Ubisoft. It's interesting because we definitely live in a world where like games go away forever. You've talked about it. The whole you don't really own your games.
Yeah, I was happy to see. I was happy to see like that now. Like Steam needs to tell you like, by the way, you're not buying a game. You're just buying a license to play it for the time we will allow you. But that still doesn't. I mean, that's good. At least like people.
It's good that they're not lying. Yeah.
But it doesn't change the fact that you might not be able to play your game. I mean, that's. We still have the same problem. People will still buy game from Steam, and they will still lose access to those games.
Yeah.
In the long run, so that doesn't like solve anything really.
It really doesn't.
We're just aware that we are fucked.
It's very frustrating that we don't have more preservation in the game.
And yeah,
society.
Even physical is just a DRM on a disc instead of in your computer.
And that's something we need to have this be recognized as art. We need preservation. Like right now, I mean, probably in a couple of years, but like I said, it's not delisted. But when Stella is older, I'm never going to be able to be like, here's Anthem. This is a game I really love. Try it. Because it's going to be gone. It's going to be gone forever.
Yeah.
Hell,
And
Destiny.
You said it. You said it once, and I think you're right. You and me, we are enthusiasts. You know, most people don't watch YouTube channel. It's became very clear in the last few weeks that like social media is not the real world. It's it's enthusiasts that goes there and express their opinions. Most people, we consider games art. Most people consider it toys. And as long as it is right now, there won't be like preservation.
Well, and what's sad is even toys have better preservation than video games.
Even toys have preservation.
Like that's the comparison. Like it's toys or it's art, but even toys are considered more artistic than video games. When you look at like the measures taken to like preserve and like make sure that these things are around. Like, yeah, there's definitely junk that you have that's just thrown away. I'm not saying that there isn't, but there's definitely more museums, more ways to preserve that. There are so many games I have in a box, Destiny, the original Destiny, upstairs. I can put that disc in and it will do nothing. It will start up a menu. That is it. And that's a bummer. Like, aside from the fact that I spent money on it and that money is gone and I can no longer get any value out of it, you know? Aside from that fact, it's a bummer that, like, you can't ever show that to anybody else. You can't ever say, this is what the first one was like, you know? There's no preservation for it. And until we have some sort of, like, way to preserve these, like, games as service games, then I don't know what we do, you know? We're certainly not going to be able to be considered art, unfortunately. Still, I think this is a good way. Like, all companies should start considering premium currency being able to go back to the user or having some sort of exchange rate with real world dollars, just because.
Yeah, absolutely.
You also have that lawsuit with the mother who is suing EA over 2K22 because 2K22, her kid bought a bunch of in-game currency, switched over to 2K23, they shut the servers down, and now you can never have that currency again. And she's like, the fuck, I can't. And I think she should be suing him. I think that, like, we're in a weird spot where, like, this is something that we need to start considering, like giving money back and stuff, or we're going to get more and more lawsuits, you know? I love that my funny one turned into a depressing one somehow.
Somehow.
It's me. Somehow. It's me. It's got to go to bed. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll do the selfless shame. We'll plug stuff.
Take your time.
That's my third stroke of the episode. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do that thing that all podcasts do, and then we'll wrap it up.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the show and the shameless self-promotion that comes with it. William Hououin, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for stepping in and filling in for my partner, my usual partner, a tiny wizard. So what do you want to plug? Tell the people about you and where they can find you.
Well, you can type William Hououin in YouTube, and you're gonna find my channel. I'm covering a bunch of things right now. I'm not doing all that much because I've been reading game books. This is what I've been doing. You know, like in the 90s, it was super popular. You probably know about them because you like tabletop stuff, and it's not all that far. You know, those. I'm into the Lone Wolf series right now.
Oh yeah. The Lone Wolf series. You're speaking my language, man. I'm gonna hold on. You keep talking for a sec. I got it right here above the table. I'm gonna pull down the oldest one I have. So you'll have to watch this on the back end. But yeah, Lone Wolf right there. I collected a bunch of them.
I have the 5 first in the series, which is the first like kind of cycle. And so I'm in on the third one right now, and I'm enjoying this quite a bit. And so I haven't been playing that much games, and so I haven't been doing that many videos. But still, I have like 500 videos on the channel covering a bunch of stuff, and I'm doing mostly like what we call evergreen content. I'm not covering news, obviously.
Right.
So you can find me there. I would greatly enjoy. I like talking about games. I like people leaving comments and give me their opinions about stuff. So
if I can go ahead and also give a shout out to your channel, one of the things that I love about William Hououin's channel is he does games and places to find games that nobody else really does. Like, he does a lot of Apple Arcade stuff. He does a lot of more niche, like, independent games that you would never hear about unless you're watching your channel. Like, he definitely does mainstream stuff, but like there's a lot of stuff that William does.
Those. Yeah, I'm definitely into those like one-person dev making a game, and I'm covering this while no one else does. And this is why I'm getting some views sometimes.
Yeah, I think so. If you want Apple Arcade,
there's nothing else.
Yeah, if you search Apple Arcade, I don't think there's anybody else doing stuff out there other than you. So yeah, I will say this. You should just think about doing the game book on a show. People will get into that. Trust me.
I did one. I did a pilot episode, actually. Yeah.
I missed it.
No offense taken. But I did. But, you know, I said at the beginning of this video that I've made, I was like, man, if you're here listening to a non-English speaking person read through a 40-year-old book. What the fuck, man? What? Why? But I really wanted to try it because the Lone Wolf, they're all available on the website. It's called Kai Chronicles, and you can do like the 29 first book there, and it's all coded, so it takes like notes of the objects you find and the stuff you unlock and where you went and all of this. So this is pretty cool, and I did a pilot episode of
I'm gonna go back and watch it, man. I promise you that. I promise you that I'll go back and watch it.
I'm still wondering the goal. I did the pilot episode just by myself, recording my iPad screen, but the goal would be to do it on stream.
Yeah.
Would be to live stream it and have some people like choosing some stuff.
Yes.
You know.
That would be the
and
way.
there is definitely a market for it because I'm listening to some while I'm working these days. So
Yeah.
there's people that are doing this, and I've been pondering doing that.
That would be awesome. I'm gonna say that, and I'll definitely advertise that, and I can even get it posted on Wizards Respite too because it's TTRPG stuff. So let me know. I will say this: first of all, have you ever played tabletop role playing games, like the actual tabletop role playing games?
Not really, no.
Okay.
My knowledge of tabletop is very, very limited.
My friend, if you ever want to try it, you message me, okay? Because we're always looking for players, for on-screen content and non-content, whatever. So if you are ever interested in it, you let me know, because I have been known as the Pied Piper of nerds with my friend group. I get people to get into Phil, the build master from this station. He had never played role-playing games until I stepped in and dragged him kicking and screaming into Nerdland. So, yeah. So if you ever are interested, man, throw me a message. Okay? I'm not going to peer pressure you. I don't do that anymore.
I would probably be interested in trying it. Usually I don't understand the rules very well of those games, and this is pretty much why I drop out. So
that's fair. There's a lot of simpler ones nowadays, though, and a lot of ones that are much more narrative based. That we're in a golden age of TTRPGs. That's one of the reasons.
Right now
it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. They're just everywhere, and like there's so many different systems out there. I agree. Like Dungeons and Dragons is just too much even for me. So like I tried to play much simpler games that are snappier and quicker. So yeah, we'll get together on that. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
But check him out on the channel. We digressed even in this. Check him out on his channel. Check out everything else he has to offer. He does some great stuff. For us, you can check out everything we have to offer here. We do video games and we do tabletop role-playing game stuff now. You can check out all our tabletop role-playing game stuff on wizardsrespite.com as well. But as far as video game stuffs, as spoken about in this podcast, I do reviews. We do some Let's Plays. We do some shows where my wife yells at me. It's fun. So you can check those all out here when they come out. I also do streams. I also do a stream here and there. You guys can contact us on Facebook at OmegaGamingDH, on X at OmegaGaming9. You can join our Discord, links in the description below. Influence us in all of our shows from there. As long as you guys keep watching, keep listening, we will endeavor to keep making them. All right, in the pause, and I might use this as a bonus or an opening, I want to have this discussion about Link's Awakening, because I meant to do it during the rant, and then I didn't circle back. What were you going to tell me about my thoughts on Link Awakening? I think my thoughts on Link Awakening was I hated it, because I hate any story where it was like, it was all a dream. I hate that shit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's just a waste of time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes.
Okay.
At the same time, let's say it was not a dream.
Okay.
You would just still have played a game. I mean, you've not painted your house, you've just played a game. I mean, it's all a waste of time is what I'm trying to say. This is what we do. We waste our time playing those games. It doesn't
fair.
really matter. But
That's a good counter argument. That's a good counter argument. It's all a waste of time, bro. You're not actually saving Hyrule.
yeah, but I agree with you. In most cases, it's annoying when you do. There was I don't remember what game it was, but in a game, it was not the whole game that was a dream, but you go into a section of the game and it's super intense. You do a bunch of things, and at the end of that section, you realize, oh, it wasn't real. It was just a dream, and like I would have preferred just continuing the story then, instead of wasting my time doing this kind of quest that led nowhere. So I agree with you. In the case of Link's Awakening, I feel the game is so different from the rest of the Zelda series that I feel it kind of justified the eerie atmosphere, and I feel everything in this game. I've replayed it very recently on my. I've bought myself a little emulator machine, so I'm replaying my classic from the
Watch out,
90s.
Nintendo will come from you for you.
I know. I have not really done much. I did an unboxing where I only played non-Nintendo games because I'm super afraid. Even though I'm really like I don't. I don't think Nintendo would come for me, but I've been very careful with this. They're really on a witch hunting phase right
they're
now.
Crazy.
Well, they've been for 30 years.
For 30 years.
They ramped it up.
Yeah.
They ramped it up lately, really. But I replayed it on my little console, and I can't remember where I was going with that.
Well, I think you were talking about the ambience of the game, which
it was really everything is off in that game. It's hard to describe other than saying it that way. Everything, it doesn't really make sense what you do, and you feel there's always something that's not right, that should not be there, that should not work the way it does. And I think the fact that it's all a dream makes it makes sense to me. I give a pass to Link's Awakening. I would agree with the sentiment that, it was all a dream. It's a very easy way out, kind of like back in the old days of JRPGs, to an easy way to put the player in context of the world was to always use the main character as some person, as they were always like amnesiac. They were always, I don't know where I am or where I'm coming from. And it was just an easy way to feed the story and the world. And so.
Yeah, I definitely will say this for Link's Awakening. It did not, I don't think that, like, you can tell when it's like, how do we end this? Let's just say it's all a dream sort of thing. I don't think that's what happened. I think they very clearly...
No, it was all a dream from the beginning. Yeah,
right. Yeah, I think very clearly that was their goal. That was their purpose. Like, if you look at all the, like, they reuse a bunch of assets. They reuse a bunch of stuff, and they kind of, like, weirdly fit it together so that it feels like you're really playing out of Link's memory in a lot of ways, So, like, I get it. It's just, I hate it. I hate when I wake up, when, like, you played something for that long and you wake up and you're like, none of this actually happened. Like, you're right though. I did love the it's all time waster argument. That is a good one. That is a good one, my friend.
Yeah, because nothing really happened in any game you've played. Like,
yeah, that's true. That's true. We're not playing true stories here.
No, I understand your sentiment, and honestly, I agree with you. But there can be exceptions, and I think that Link's Awakening is one for me for sure.
Okay, well, that's fair. That's fair.